I would like to call to order the Public Improvement Commission hearings of September 23rd, 2021. First order of business. Mr. Liming, if you could be ever so kind and do a roll call for me, please.
Certainly. Public Works Department representative.
Parajai Singh.
Property Management.
Good morning, Joseph Callahan.
Transportation Department.
Amy Cording.
Inspectional Services.
Brian Ronan.
Water and Sewer Commission.
Denise Devlin.
And Commission for Persons with Disabilities.
Sarah Leon.
All present. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Todd. First order of business, the approval of the hearing minutes at the request of the Public Improvement Commission staff, the acceptance of minutes of the PIC hearings held on September 2nd of 2021. I could hear a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 2nd.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion passes. First order of business for under the utility pole hearings continued. Item number 1, on a joint petition by Verizon New England Inc. and Eversource Energy for a pole installation within Mount Vernon Street, a public way, Dorchester, to install one new utility pole to be located on its southeasterly side across from Conference Street. This was heard under the utility pole hearings on September 2nd of 2021. Good morning.
Good morning. This is James Day Toronto representing Verizon New England.
We can hear you, James. Go for it.
Like we went over in the last meeting at September 2nd, Verizon is requesting with Eversource to place a new stub pole off of Cottrell on Mount Vernon Street to pull the pole so that it is not falling over. The new pole will be placed in the sidewalk and will be guided in the opposite direction.
James, you are right now a figment of our imagination. We can't see your video. Is it possible for you to turn your video on?
No, unfortunately, I don't have video access at this moment.
Okay, if you are engaging the Public Improvement Commission in the future, please ensure that your IT technology can support this stuff. These are public hearings, and we need to be able to substantiate in a court of law what gets said by whom, so on and so forth. Mr. Lining, do we have a capacity to share on a screen whatever the petitioner is planning on showing us?
Sure. Stand by 1 minute.
Is this going in the sidewalk or is this going in the grass behind the sidewalk where the streetlights are?
So the new pole will be placed in the sidewalk.
And what's the clearance behind it?
That will depend on the dig safe. I believe Verizon engineer Larry Enright went to mark the pole. He was in contact with Brian, who I believe is on this call. They weren't able to meet out on site to discuss it.
Thanks, Gail.
Why isn't it going in the grass?
I suppose it's not going in the grass. I'm not sure. I wasn't out at the meeting there. It's possible that it can go in the grass if that's easier.
No. Time out. I'm so sorry. Could you, as in the court of law, we cannot have you testify on hearsay information. You all do need to improve your house, okay? So it is, I will leave it up to the discussion of the fellow commission members, but this is becoming increasingly awkward where you representing Verizon is not able to testify in an appropriate manner so that the commission members can make a judgment. One, you are providing hearsay testimony too. You are also stating that Commissioner Ronan has not been able to meet as needed. I'm a little bit concerned.
My apologies, I'm just reporting on what I've been told.
To the chair, Brian Ronan.
Go ahead, Brian, your thoughts, please. Truly would appreciate it.
That actually, some scheduling conflict. I did go out there and look at it, but I would like to have, I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask the engineer or the Verizon rep about that particular location, if that would be possible.
Brian, absolutely. You know, the input of fellow commission members is a hallmark of this commission's functions. And if needed, Brian, I have no qualms in continuing this public hearing until appropriate forum has been attained so that you can do the necessary field review, because we do rely on you and your expertise to give the commission the necessary guidance.
I mean that would be helpful. If we could postpone it to the next session. I think that ought to do it.
Yeah, I also think that we want it in the grass, right? Like the lights are in the grass, there is no pinch point, this is a clear sidewalk. We would introduce this, and you can't just say the location is based on DigSafe. You would need to verify that you're giving us our minimum sidewalk dimensions before you would even be able to put it in the sidewalk. So we would either need to know that, but the lights are in the grass, so why this wouldn't be as well seems like a good starting spot.
Also, it's right on the corner of what appears to be a private way or even a street. It's like it's a small dead end. It's directly on the corner of which they have a parking challenge down there, for lack of a better term. So I think I'd like to focus some of that as well, as far as protecting it.
James, may I suggest the following with the consent of fellow commission members and PIC staff. If you can orchestrate a meeting where Commissioner Ronan is able to look at the situation at a mutually agreed time with the support of PIC staff member who can look after the broader interest of other commission members, and such a meeting take place hopefully within the next 2 weeks, so that when we hear this matter in 2 weeks, there would have been ample opportunity for all parties to weigh and come to the correct conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good to me.
Todd, can you coordinate the efforts so that Commissioner Ronan and one of your team members are there to look at the interest of Commissioner Harding?
Certainly.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to hear a motion capturing the sentiments of all that has been verbalized so far.
I'll make a motion to continue utility pole continued hearing 1 to
October 7th.
October 7th, while they verify the location with ISD, confirm the location as to whether or not it's in the sidewalk or the grass strip. And I believe that we were going to also verify that this is not in fact a park, even though it is labeled so.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Second item on the utility pole hearings, continued segment of our agenda. On a petition by Eversource Energy for a pole installation within Tanfield Terrace, the public way, West Roxbury, to install one new utility pole to be located on its northwesterly side, across from address number 11, southwest of Tanfield Park. The first utility pole hearing was on September 2nd of 2021. Good morning. Do we have someone from Eversource?
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm Katie Flaherty, and I'm representing Everforce. And I think Steve Conte is on here with me as well.
Yes, good morning.
Morning, folks. Take it on.
So this was continued from 2 weeks ago. Eversource is asking to install that new pole in Taft Hill Terrace to supply electric service for a charging station that's going to be located there. One of the questions that you had or a concern was why an existing pole couldn't be used. And the answer that I got was there is a transformer already on that pole, and we need to use a riser for, to supply the service to the electric vehicle station. I do have some photos, and also Water and Sewer wanted the hydrant shown on the plan, and I do have a revised plan with the hydrant on it as well, that we did send over.
Thank you, Catherine. Comments by fellow commission members at this point?
That's proposed, where the proposed pole would go.
Yes, Catherine, we are not seeing any plans on the
No.
screen. Could you or Steve share your screen so that way we have a public record of what is being discussed?
I thought I was sharing it. Let me try again. Looks like I'm having trouble doing this. Can you see anything?
We are
Sorry.
seeing your email that came from Chief Engineer Lining to you.
Okay.
Looks like a great email.
I can give it a shot, Catherine.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna stop.
Okay. Can you all see the screen?
Thank you, Steve. Yes, we can.
That's the hydrant. Oh, you wanna talk, Steve? I'm sorry.
No, this is the Eversource sketch showing where the new pole is being proposed here at the edge of the parking lot, as well as the hydrant is now included there as well. And any photos, I believe, are in this one here. So the new pole would just be next to the hydrant here, kind of in line with the other two existing poles. That's the location there.
Thank you, Steve. Comments by fellow commission members?
Yeah, this is Joe Callahan, Property Management. One question, could you point out where the charging station will be?
Sure, I've got the full site plans here. So this is Taft Hill Terrace and the new pole. You can see it in the corner there. We'll be installing a new pad mount transformer to feed these 4 dual charging stations right along the that first row of parking there. See if there's a better shot. Yeah, this is kind of an overlay onto the photo of the site showing where they'll be.
Steve,
Thank
remind me again, is this parking lot city owned or is it a private parking lot?
Yeah, this is city municipal lot number 8.
Got it, I'm with you, thank you. So all of this stuff is being done to support efforts by the city's transportation department, I will assume?
That is correct.
Thank you. Joe, are you okay with things?
Yes, no more questions, thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Any comments by any fellow commission members? Any further comments? Hearing none, any comments by PIC staff or members of today's audience?
No, none.
Thank you. Now, before I call for a vote, for those members from both the Verizon and the Eversource team members that are at today's hearing, I'm sure you all have heard over the last 2 decades or longer the city's ongoing concern about double poles, stub poles, and questionable poles. The city continues to have its concerns about the number of double poles and poles that are leaning. We will continue to engage and refine those conversations which we have had with you all. So please be prepared to respond to the city in the very near future as to your ongoing efforts to minimize double poles and or questionable poles. So putting that thing as an editorial comment, I'd like to hear a motion regarding the poll hearing as poll hearing number 2.
I make a motion to approve a petition by Eversource Energy for a pole installation within Taft Hill Terrace in Rosendale as further read into record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the public hearing segment of our agenda, first item on a joint petition by WJG Realty Company LLC, Austin Yard Space, Alpha Limited Liability Company, and Rail Yard Residential LLC for the widening and relocation and extension of existing right-of-way lines of Arthur Street, which is a public way in Brighton, located between Hitchcock Street and Guest Street. Highmont Street and Guest Street. This was brought under new business on September 2nd of this year, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Widening and Relocation and Extension Plans, Arthur Street, Public Road, Alston, one sheet dated May 18, 2021. Good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Mark Jackson. I'm with Newland Development, and I'm with Risa Myers. And we're going to talk about the Austin Yards project and give a quick kind of brief overview from new business. And also team members with us today are Chris Renier, Chris Clements from Goulston Stores. We got Mark Youngins, Wayne Amico from VHB. On the civil side, Mark Balf, Geotech from H&A, and Jen Dunn, Architect from Stantec for Building A. Jim Hurley Madison from Copley Wilson Design, Landscape Architects on the project. So the existing site is adjacent to Boston Landing, just south of Mass Pike in the commuter rail stop. It consists of a large Stop and Shop, Home Goods, and Dollar Tree, as well as a 450 parking space asphalt lot. And we are proposing to redevelop it to create a new street grid consistent with the Guest Street planning study, develop a 1 acre community green, and then 4 new buildings, building A, B, C, and D. That will consist of 868 residences, a mix of rental and ownership, 350,000 square feet of office and life science space, 117,000 square feet of retail, and then we're going to generate 1.5 acres of public realm space. And today we want to focus really on the first phase of development, which is highlighted in this red line, which will consist of the Arthur Street extension to Guest in a new intersection, the Guest Street extension all the way over to Everett with a new signalized intersection, the reconfiguration of Everett to accommodate that, the 1 acre community green, and then the Building A construction. And we phased it this way because it was important to the community to keep the existing Stop and Shop open while we constructed A. In Building A will house the new 67,000 square foot, the entire second floor will be a new state-of-the-art Stop and Shop. We've got 165 rental residences above that, and then there's some ground floor retail on the eastern end. This is a nice rendering looking to the east on Guest Street at Building A. To date, we have several approvals, and we've done a lot of coordination outreach. We have Article 80 approval, PDA approval for the master plan, as well as each development parcel, BCDC master plan, and Building A approval. The project has MEPA approval, TAPA master plan, Building A, BWC approval for all the infrastructure and the proposed roadways, as well as Building A. And then our Building A IC permit is under review, which we're hoping to break ground next month. The roadway design plans, we've coordinated extensively with BPW, and we submitted 75% back in April. We captured all the comments and included them in these PIC plans, and we're hoping to submit 100% shortly after we get through PIC. As far as coordination meetings, we've met with BPW, BTD, Signals, Active Transportation, Disabilities, Street Lighting, BPDA, PIC staff, MBTA, and Mass DOT extensively. And following up on one of the questions, we've reached out to Mass DOT about the striping on the bridge, and we've started to coordinate that process to hopefully get that done. So that's a quick kind of refresher on what we talked about in new business, and I'll turn it over to Mark Youngins to go through the Arthur Street widening relocation extension.
Well, we'll start with Arthur Street. The goal here is, of course, to create a public street network for sort of the center spine. Arthur Street is an extension of existing Arthur Street from Hitchborn Street to Guest Street. Right now, Guest Street was extended through the Boston Landing site to the point right here on the right side of the plan. And this now creates the first leg of the public street network from Hitchborn to Guest Street. Guest Street is 22-foot wide, curb to curb, with a 54-foot or so right-of-way. It's variable as it needs to be. 8-foot concrete sidewalks, raised cycle tracks, and associated landscaping. This design, as well as Guest Street and Everett Street, have been a real long-term cooperative effort with BTD Active Transportation, the BTD bus folks, the Disabilities Group, Public Works, PIC. Really, a lot of people chipped in here to really create something that works well for the project, but also creates the public facilities that are going to be necessary for the long term. There's new street lighting, and we spent a lot of time working with the Boston Landing and the Lantera, which is right next door, getting together space for signals and appropriate sidewalks and drop-offs and everything else. So Arthur Street is that first piece over existing private land that creates this new public street connection between Hitchborn and Guest. And now we can move on to the next one. Guest Street is the main spine that connects to Everett Street, and the Guest Street that was extended as part of Boston Landing. This is consistent with the mobility plan that was developed by the city. And
hold on a second, Mark.
Yeah.
You are now discussing the next public hearing, so we need to take this thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. My mistake.
And here I was going to say how well versed you are with the whole program.
I was on a roll. Sorry about
You
that.
are on a roll, Mark. I know the two marks are hitting it off the park today. Thank you, seriously. Okay, serious note. So you are finished with the testimony for the widening and relocation of the Arthur Street extension. At this point, I'd like to open up for any questions or comments by fellow commission members. Hearing none. Any
BTD
comments?
is just contingent upon our ultimate traffic signal approval, but these guys are working with Don.
Thanks, Amy. Any further comments by fellow commission members? Before I ask for comments by PIC staff, Mr. Jackson, I need you to do one little thing for me. So the work obviously is going to be done by a contractor that is under your purview, meaning the construction work is going to be done by you. When the work gets done, Mr. Jackson, if you could be so kind to get the work certified by the designer of record, which would be Mark, would that be you, sir?
Actually, it'd be VHB. Because Wayne Amico is the lead designer.
Right. So, Mr. Jackson, what is needed is, because public works staff is not going to be overseeing the construction, I need you to be able to certify to the city that the construction work was done to the plans that were approved by the Public Improvement Commission. So that way, when we have that letter of certification, everyone is quite happy at my end over here. Okay?
Yep, we can do that. And VHB has an extensive construction phase services part of this, so they'll be out there inspecting.
Awesome,
We can do that.
Awesome. It's something which the Commission has been asking throughout the Commission's existence. It is just that sometimes, once in a while, I have to remind that it will ask, and sometimes I forget asking for that. So this is not something unusual, it is just standard practice stuff. Okay, so that being said, any comments by PIC staff and all members of today's audience?
Just along the lines of what you just mentioned, Mr. Chairman, after these streets are constructed, the project will need to go through the public roadway acceptance process, which is a PIC process, to have them formally accepted as city roadways.
Excellent. Any additional comments by PIC staff or members of today's audience?
No, not.
Hearing none, I'd like to give a motion regarding public hearing item number 1.
I'll make a motion to,
Go ahead, please.
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by WJG Realty Company LLC and Alston Yards Phase A LLC and Rail Yard Residential LLC for the widening, relocation, and extension of Arthur Street as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstained? Motion passes. Public hearing number 2 on a joint petition by WJJ Realty Company LLC, Alston Yards Phase 8 LLC, and Boston Landing LLC for the widening, relocation, and extension of the existing right-of-way lines of Guest Street, Public Way, Brighton, located between Arthur Street and Everett Street. This was brought on a new business on September 2nd of this year, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Widening, Relocation, and Extension Plan, Guest Street, Public Road, Alston, 4 sheets, dated May 18, 2021. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. So I'll turn over to Mark to walk through the Guest Street plans from VHB.
Okay, great. Guest Street is sort of the main spine through the site. You probably noticed that Boston Landing is also a petitioner on this because there's a little portion of their existing land that we pulled into this to make it a complete thought. Once again, work with the city's active transportation and integrated bus facilities and raised cycle tracks and 8-foot sidewalks into this stretch of road as well. It's a between 40 and 49 feet curb to curb, depending on whether there's a turn lane or there isn't. 2 travel lanes, the entire length, with significant frontage zones and buffers and street furniture. The sidewalk areas are going to be maintained by the proponent, even though this will be a public street. And then we've incorporated pavers and landscaping and street lighting into the design as well. This is definitely the critical connection for the site, and it is based on the Alston Brighton mobility plan developed by the city and trying to make that critical connection between North Beacon Street and Everett Street, which this does.
Thank you, Mark. Any comments by commission members? Hearing none. Any comments by PAC staff and all members of today's audience?
None.
Thank you. I'd like to get a motion regarding public hearing item number 2.
I make a motion to approve a joint petition by WJG Realty Company LLC, Alston Yards Phase A LLC, and Boston Landing LLC for the widening, relocation, and extension of the existing right-of-way lines of Guest Street, as further read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Motion passes. Third item on today's agenda, on a petition by Alston Yards Phase A of Alpha LLC for the vertical discontinuance of a portion of Guest Street, Public Way, Brighton, located on its southerly side at 56 Everett Street, generally between Arthur Street and Everett Street, vertical above the grade of the sidewalk. This was brought on a new business on September 2nd of this year, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Vertical Discontinuance Plans, Guest Street, Alston, 2 sheets, dated May 18, 2021.
Thank you. So as part of pushing the right-of-way line at the back of the sidewalk, we were proposing 3 different vertical discontinuances. The first is the residential stack on floors 3 through 6, so it extends between 1 and just under 4 feet over the right-of-way line, and that's this piece on the far west side. The second discontinuance is over the retail overhang, and that extends between 3.5 and 4.5 feet over the right-of-way line. Both these internally drained and heat traced, and all 3 discontinuances are significantly less than the 2/3 of the public sidewalk. The third discontinuance is really an architectural brow feature over the retail component on the easterly side of Building A, and that extends 10 inches off the face of the building, and discontinuance is between 10 and about 1.5 feet, depending on where you are across the face. And this next sheet shows a couple sections. So the first discontinuance is just under 35 feet above the sidewalk level, and then discontinuances 2 and 3 are right around 12 feet above the sidewalk level.
Thank you so much. Point of clarification, Mr. Limey, the value of the discontinued area, how is that being managed?
So because this street was just laid out literally 2 minutes ago, PIC's typical practice is that we waive any discontinuance fee for projects like this.
Thank you, Mr. Limey, for that point of clarification to be put on tape. Any questions or comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none, any comments or comments by PSC staff and or members of today's audience?
No, none.
Thank you. I'd like to hear a motion regarding public hearing item number 3.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by Alston Yards Phase A LLC for the vertical discontinuance of portions of Guest Street as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Hearing none, the motion passes. Fourth item on today's agenda, on a set of petitions by WJG Realty Company LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Brighton, consisting of curb, roadway, sidewalk, and pedestrian drive construction, as well as new and relocated specialty pavement, street lighting infrastructure, street trees, planters, landscaping, street furniture, bike racks, drain infrastructure, traffic signal infrastructure, irrigations infrastructure, waste receptacles, driveway curb cuts, and protected bicycle facilities. Arthur Street between Hitchborn Street and Guest Street, Guest Street between Arthur Street and Everett Street, Everett Street generally at Guest Street. This was brought under new business on September 2nd of this year and shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plans, Verizon, Arthur Street, Guest Street, Everett Street, Alston, 7 sheets dated May 18th of 2021. One of the marks.
I'll go for it. Mark Younghans, VHP. The features of the street have been fully coordinated with the various city departments. We work with the lighting department on the layout and configuration of the lighting and the type of poles that we're using. We worked extensively with BTD on placing bike racks and coming up with the bike facilities that are shown here and making sure they have the appropriate buffers and configuration. The disabilities, the Mayor's Office on Disabilities has been an active participant on laying out the sidewalks. We have an 8-foot wide typical sidewalk almost for the entire length of the site. They get an extra gold star for the work on Everett Street because that's, something right up to the end we were making changes based on their comments, and they're all good changes. And we're in the middle of the process with the signals group for 2 signals. There's one here at the intersection of Arthur and Guest and another at Everett Street that will be integrated into the city system and undergo a complete design review, which will be complete after this process.
Thank you, Mark. Continue.
Okay, this on the sheet here is the Everett Street. The specific repair for Everett Street, which is a state-owned bridge that comes down and goes over the Mass Pike. And we're reconfiguring this intersection, and we worked with the neighborhood through a public process to come up with this reconfiguration of the existing street and making sure that we took into account existing access points, driveways, pedestrian walkways, and provided accessibility where, the accessibility was, could have been better under the existing conditions. So we provided diverse pedestrian routes and where possible, conforming crossings and sidewalk grades. And once again, new lighting, the signal infrastructure is going to be completely renewed here and lined up with the proposed geometry. And it should be a safer condition and provide more diverse distribution of traffic and management of traffic for the development as a whole.
Thank you, Mark.
So, that's what I got.
Okay, questions by fellow commission members? Hearing none, just a background question. This is for Mark Youngmans. The stoplight which you are installing here, is it a fully actuated or a semi-actuated?
Actually, I'm gonna have to turn that one over to Wayne.
I'm going to assume as a punch line, you will run it in such a way so that the traffic that is coming off the bridge is free flow and it gets actuated at least at a minimum on side street actuation, and the said loops are appropriately maintained under the guidance and the direction of the transportation department. Anecdotal comment.
Yeah, I would say that that's true.
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah.
We agree. You're right.
No, okay. Comments by PIC staff and or members of today's audience.
No, none.
Mr. Lanning, where are we on the maintenance agreement?
So my understanding is that the project is still working with Chung on the maintenance agreements. I suppose it is worth noting that there will actually be two separate maintenance agreements for this action. One will be covering the Arthur Street and Guest Street sidewalks and streetscape features, and the second will be a limited improvement, limited license agreement for the grass area that you see here on Everett Street, which
Thank you, Todd.
and that will be
Again,
maintained by the
I would
project.
truly appreciate if you can help to move the execution of those maintenance agreements so that way we can file these plans once approved in the registry. Okay? But else, I think that's all I have. Oh, also, Mr. Jackson, again, we have verification from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services as to the extensive public outreach process which you have conducted and our collective appreciation for the wonderful work which you have done to bring this project to this point in time. So, Todd, any comments by PSC staff and all members of today's audience?
No, none.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to hear a motion regarding public hearing number 4.
I'll make a motion to approve a set of petitions by WJG Realty Company LLC for the making of specific repairs within Arthur Street, Guest Street, and Everett Street as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. Public hearing number 5 on a petition by Alston Yards Phase A for Alpha Limited Liability Company for the granting of an earth retention license for the installation of a temporary earth support system within Guest Street, a public way, Brighton, located at 56 Everett Street, generally between Arthur Street and Everett Street. This is brought under new business on September 2nd of this year, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Temporary Earth Retention Plan, Guest Street, Boston, one sheet dated June 25, 2021.
Good morning.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Good morning. Third Mark Bell from Alien Aldrich. The building A will require, is planned for 2 levels of below-grade parking. So the support excavation system along Guest Street will consist of interlocking steel sheeting, which will be braced, 1 level of bracing with external tiebacks, which will extend beneath the future Guest Street. So as part of this application, we're basically asking for permission for the tiebacks and the sheeting and the sidewalk. The system will be removed beneath the sidewalk to 6 feet below ground surface, and the tiebacks will be detentioned. So, this is kind of a, documenting what the future city street condition will be like when it's turned over to the city.
Thank you. Third Mark. Questions by, comments or questions by fellow commission members? Hearing none, comments by PSC staff or members of today's audience?
None.
At this point, I'd like to hear a motion regarding public hearing number 5.
Make motion to approve a petition by Alston Yards Phase A LLC for the granting of an earth retention license in the area of Guest Street as further read into the record by the chair.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Jackson and the 3 marks and all of you folks. Well, nicely done. Thank you, guys. Last item on the, public hearing number 6, on a petition by Crown Castle Fiber for the making of specific repairs within Camden Street, the public way, Boston proper, located generally at address number 281 northwest of Columbus Ave, consisting of new street lighting infrastructure. Brought on a new business on September 2nd, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Crown Castle, 281 Camden Street, Boston, Public Works Department, Street Lighting Infrastructure, one sheet dated September 2021. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. This is Anna Simashko from Crown Castle, and with me today is Brian Cunningham and Ashley Perry. We're petitioning for a specific repairs plan with lead company status and no participants on Camden Street in Roxbury. This project was presented at the new business hearing on September 3rd, and this is for conduit installed for Boston street lighting. The length of the dig is about 387 feet of conventional electric-only conduit, 4 new streetlight foundations, and 4 new handholds. This is a part of our agreement with Boston Street Lighting, where they allow us to put up an antenna on a pole nearby on a condition that we will complete this job for them. We have not received any interest or comments about this job since the new business hearing. Any questions or comments about this job?
Thank you so much. Questions or comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none, comments by PSC staff and all members of this audience. Todd, I'm going to naturally assume that our state light division is absolutely okay with everything that is being proposed here.
That is correct.
Yeah, street lighting's on board. I will mention that this action was actually listed as a grant of location on the new business agenda. It is in fact a specific repairs action due to the nature of the installation.
Thank you, Todd.
Understood. Thanks, Todd. Any further comments by PSC staff and all members of today's audience?
No, none.
Hearing none, I'd like to hear a motion regarding public hearing number 6.
Make motion to approve a petition by Crown Castle Fiber for the making of specific repairs within Camden Street as further read into the record by the chair.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 None opposed or abstain. Hearing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now moving on to the city roadway acceptance segment of our today's agenda. Item number 1, on the petition by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the acceptance as a city roadway of the following public ways in Boston proper: Atlantic Avenue between Needham Street and Seaboard Boulevard / Oliver Street, John F. Fitzgerald Expressway Service Road between Needham Street and Summer Street, Purchase Street between Summer Street and Oliver Street / Seaboard Boulevard, Summer Street between Atlantic Avenue and Purchase Street / Fitzgerald Service Road, Edinburgh Street, generally at Kingston Road, Kingston Street / Beach Street, Kingston Street, generally at Edinburgh Street / Beach Street, Essex Street, generally at Fitzgerald Service Road, Lincoln Street from Park Street to north of Essex Street, Congress Street between Atlantic Avenue and Purchase Street, Pearl Street between Atlantic Avenue and Purchase Street, or assurance set of plans entitled Public Roadway Acceptance Plans, Atlantic Avenue, Service Artery, Burgess Street, Summer Street, Edinburgh Street, Kingston Street, Essex Street, Lincoln Street, Congress Street, and Pearl Street, Boston Proper. 27 sheets dated September 23, 2021. Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Chair. How are you today?
Doing fine. So good to see you one more time.
That's good. I'm John. For those who don't know, I'm John Romano from Mass DOT. Mr. Chair, as you know, this is kind of a historic day for both of our agencies and for your staff. Before I start, I just kind of want to point out, Todd Lyman and Amy Cording, we've been working, yourself as well, and many other staff, we've been working on this I don't know, at least since I started on at the Central Artery over 20 years ago. And today we present to you the first area of streets from the Central Artery project to be accepted by the city as city roadway. We signed an MOA in 2016, broke up the area into 4 contracts. This is contract area 1, which as described earlier and on this overview plan, runs from Nayland Street to just south, just south of Seaport Boulevard. That's contract area 1. This includes everything except for 2 streets in that area. The first street is Nayland Street itself, as that was previously accepted by the city in 2019. That was kind of our trial run through PIC with this process. And also a small section of Beach Street over by the Chinatown Gate where the checkerboard artwork is, which that is to be completed. We have heard from our subcontractors that the granite for that should be in the next several weeks, and the contractor plans to install that sometime before the winter moratorium. So that's our goal for there. So those 2 areas are not part of today's presentation, which would complete all of contract area 1. So we are very excited to present this to you today, and we have included in the package that we have presented to PIC, including all of the sign-off sheets for all of the construction work that was proposed as part of the MOA. We have that including the ramps, sidewalk repairs, all of the irrigation separation that went along with this, and that's all part of the package. There was also 2 variances that were approved by the board, and those are included as well in your package. And if you would like, we do have the 27 sheets that outline each of the areas. If you would like us to go through those, we can. If not, this overview sheet has the general areas that we are presenting today for your acceptance.
John, let me make a couple of comments here. First of all, I want to publicly thank you, Mr. Romano, for almost 20 years of dedication and heart and soul you have given towards this final, what I call, administrative step towards the completion of this amazing big project. You worked diligently through many administrators. I want to thank the current administrator, Jonathan Gulliver, and his total team, and most, cannot do anything without the support of the administrator and the secretary. So my thanks to all of them. But a personal thanks from me to you, John. You have been a strong steward in this joint partnership. There are obviously many city staff members, former PIC Chief Engineer Amy Gordon, who is now the Transportation Department's Commissioner Straight, Todd Lyman, variety of city staff. And my compliments to you all. Much has been done by many, and today is absolutely a great day. So I think these plans and sheets have been reviewed by all parties. Are there any commission members who would want a further amplification of the plans that have been submitted, because if that is needed, I would accommodate Mr. Romano showing the 27 pages, but if not, in the interest of time and the thoroughness of all the review that has been done.
Definitely seen these plans enough.
I wanted to make sure that as a public hearing, that we put this thing on the record. Excellent. So are there any other comments to be made by fellow commission members as to this petition?
Oh, good morning. This is Denise Devlin from Boston Water and Sewer. I just had a general question. I wasn't here in 2016, so I apologize if this question's already been asked, but are there any areas that you're giving back to us where the state owns the drainage currently in any of these areas?
Anything that was related to Boston Water and Sewer has been previously reviewed, and we have an agreement between Mass DOT and Boston Water and Sewer that was signed back in December of 2015, and that letter is included in the package that was submitted to PIC.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Romano.
You're welcome, Ms. Devlin.
Yeah, Denise, the way how this to go better about, we started from the subsurface stuff, all the subsurface stuff, mainly the water and sewer elements were transferred in terms of ownership in years back. When it came to the surface side and the transportation departments and the street lighting and some of the traffic signals and street trees, those were the dangling participants, and over the last 4 to 5 years, Mr. Romano and his team has been working diligently with the city and the state to bring those to an acceptable position. So we've done the bottom part, or I should say the underground part, and this is just the above ground stuff.
Okay, thank you, Para.
Thanks, Denise, as always. Any further comments by commission members? Hearing none, comments by PIC staff and all members of today's audience?
No, none.
Thank you. Again, not meaning to beat up the same drumbeat, but John and Amy and Todd, thank you for all the diligent, amazing, hard, dedicated work which you all have done. This is truly a good point in time. That being said, I'd like to hear a motion regarding this.
I happily make a motion to approve a petition by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts of transportation for the acceptance of city roadway on Atlantic Ave, John F. Fitzgerald Expressway, Surface Road, Purchase Street, Sumner Street, Edinburgh Street, Kingston Street, Essex Street, Lincoln Street, Congress Street, and Pearl Street as read into the record by the chair.
Do I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed or abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Romano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate it.
And please give my absolute best to all of your team at the Home Office, all the way, including the administrator. Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you.
That concludes the public hearing segment of our today's agenda. Now moving on to the new business segment. New business item number 1. 11.
To the chair, Brian Ronan.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, sorry, I beg the commission's pardon. I have to jump into another meeting with the fire department and Commissioner Ladin. Will that be okay to be excused?
Absolutely, Brian. If there's some stuff that needs your engagement, we'll make sure that the petitioners do reach out to you to ensure that your department and you are comfortable with things. Thank you, Brian, for joining us today. The team still has a quorum, so we can continue. New business.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. New business item number 1. 11 East Lenox Street, Roxbury, vertical discontinuance on a petition by Zero East Lenox Street LLC. Good morning.
Commissioners, Attorney Matt Eckel with Drago and Toscano with Kirkwood from Zero East Lenox Street LLC. We're here this morning requesting 2 vertical discontinuances along East Lenox Street in Roxbury. By way of brief request is being made in conjunction with the residential development along East Lenox Street, specifically at 11 East Lenox Street. The project contains 34 residential units in a new 7-story building. This project did go through the Article 80 small project review process and was approved by the BPDA board back in December 17th of 2020 and was approved by the Zoning Board of Appeal on January 26th, 2021. In terms of the two specific discontinuance areas, they're for essentially bays beginning at the second floor of the proposed building and extending to the roof line of the building along East Lenox Street. These areas begin approximately 11 feet above the sidewalk and extend to the top of the building approximately 60 feet above the start of the discontinuance area. The first area of discontinuance is approximately 1.91 feet by 13.49 feet for a total of 26 square feet. And the second area of discontinuance is approximately 1.87 feet by 13.41 feet for a total of 25 square feet. So the total area of discontinuance is 51 square feet. With that, I'll pause and take any questions from the chair or the commissioners.
Matt, appreciate you summarizing your petition, but since this is still through a public hearing process, we need to see the plans that go better along with your fine articulation of the scope. So do you have something which you can share in terms of the actual plans that do detail the areas of discontinuance as articulated by you?
Absolutely. Let me attempt to share the screen now and I'll pull up the plan. Are you able to see the plan?
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you. So if you could just, in as few words as possible, just articulate, the high points.
Sure, absolutely. So obviously you're looking at the discontinuance area plan here. You can see the lot is 8,464 square feet. Our two bays and areas of discontinuance are proposed here in the shaded blue. This is discontinuance area 1, which is the 26 total square feet, as I mentioned. And discontinuance area 2 is here for 25 additional square feet. Both the areas of discontinuance are along East Lenox Street.
Thank you, Matt. Point of clarification from PIC staff, Chief Engineer Todd Lining. Todd, these discontinuance, how are they compensated?
The project has conducted an appraisal and they will be paying to the city fair market value for these discontinuance areas.
Thank you, Mr. Lining. At this point, I'd like to see any comments or concerns by fellow commission members.
I have a question. This is Joe Callahan, Property Management. Do you have a representation of how the finished project will look from Lenox Street?
Thank you, Mr. Callahan. I do. If you wouldn't mind, I can actually share my screen, and provided I have the ability, and can show you a street wall elevation, kind of showing that discontinuance.
Let me stop my share, Scott, and see if you're able.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I figured I'd pull one up. Hold on one sec.
Scott, are you attempting to share your screen?
I am in the process. How's that? Can everyone see that?
That's okay, Scott. If you could be ever so kind and identify yourself for the record.
Yes, sir. Scott Kirkwood, owner's representative and project manager for Boston Real Estate Collaborative.
Wonderful, Scott. Thank you so much. Joseph, sorry.
No, thank you very much. This is exactly what I was looking for. Thank you. I'm good.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm going to assume that your extensions are properly heat traced so that there are no icicles. Our standard speech about how protrusions within the public right of way, whether discontinued or not, is going to create awkward moments for a pedestrian walking underneath. Yes? No? Maybe?
That's correct, sir. Yes.
Sorry. Okay, any further comments by commission members? Hearing none, any comments by PIC staff or members of today's audience?
No, none.
Great, we will mark you up for Todd. When are we seeing again? October 7?
October 7.
We'll mark this thing up for a public hearing 2 weeks from now, which should take us to October 7.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Second item, 199 Gardner Street, West Roxbury, pedestrian easement specific repairs on a set of petitions by CCR, West Roxbury Apartments LLC. Good morning.
Good morning. Steve Materano from Bowler here representing the 199 Gardner Street project and the applicant, CCR West Roxbury Apartments LLC. So good morning, members of the commission. Appreciate you making time for us today. I'm joined with Connor McCormick, who is the applicant for the project from CCR West Roxbury Apartments, and then also Tim Hood, who is with Monty French Design Studios, who's the project architect. So if you have questions for ownership or on the architecture, happy to answer those. And this project is a project that it's a piece of a project that was approved through the BPDA large project review process that included this project, which is 70 apartment units, as well as a project on the opposite side of Gardner Street that we won't be discussing today, but just so you have the context, that is 18-unit townhome project that's actively under construction. So we're specifically talking about the 70-unit project titled 199 Gardner Street. So with that, I'll share my screen, and I just have a couple slides. It'll be very brief. Just when that's up, I assume that's live now on your screen?
Yes.
Good. So we have just a couple photos of existing additions. So it's a couple smaller one-story block buildings on the site today, and as you can see, really, Gardner Street is in need of some sidewalk improvements. So the project agreed to upgrade those sidewalks. Obviously, when they do the construction, and this is where the project is going, they need wider sidewalks. These are about 3 feet in the existing condition. So we have two actions. One is for widening the sidewalk, and that requires an easement. And then there's also a requirement or an agreement through the BPDA process to introduce a mid-block crossing on Gardner Street here. So just a high-level view of what we're constructing here, and then we have landscaping, but it's not in the public right-of-way. It's going to be back a sidewalk, so we can maximize that width, obviously, to get it up to a city standard 5-foot clear minimum. Zooming in, so the first action we have is really to grant, it's variable width, but approximately 4 feet of the private property to through a public pedestrian easement, which allows us to get a proper width sidewalk along Gardner Street on our side. So that's one action, and then the second action, just layering in the public improvement or the specific repairs is the details of the sidewalk construction, a new accessible ramp here to create this mid-block crossing, and then the reciprocal ramp on the other side of the street. This side of Gardner Street is also being rebuilt, but not under this petition. It's being rebuilt under the townhome project that's already underway. So you'll have brand new sidewalks on both sides. This petition is just for the ones on the north side, which is the proposed project side of the street. And that is it. I mean, we have some striping that we show here, which is consistent with what you want for advanced warning for a mid-block crossing, and we have some signage, notifying vehicles as they come down. And Gardner Street is a one-way coming from page left to right, which is why we only have the advanced warning on one side. And there's also a couple of additional signs. No tow zone, no stopping, and those are BTD agreements through the transportation access plan to just add some of those signs in. So we've got those captured in this petition as well. And then the curb cut for the project, it's an existing curb cut. We're actually shrinking it to 20 feet, and that's a city standard driveway curb cut, so it does come up to give the precedent to the sidewalk to be for the pedestrians to be straight across and not have to dip down for the driveway. And that is what we have. Sorry, off the screen. any questions that the commission may have, I'm happy to leave this on, or I can stop sharing if that's preferred.
Thank you, Steve. Comments by fellow commission members?
Can you show what will be then the existing conditions on the opposite side of the street? Because I think that right now you're showing a ramp in, you know, a driveway minus the context of what's about to be built there.
Yeah, we're happy to layer that work into this so we can see exactly how that plays out in the end. And I know there's an agreement. I mean, ideally the reciprocal ramp gets built when they're building the sidewalk across the street, but in case we're in there first, we've got the ramp constructed, and we can connect it. I see here, you know, what you're talking about. We could show this as part of our modification as well. We're fine with that to make sure it connects to the existing sidewalk.
Amy, I would assume you're okay with the location of this crosswalk and that it wasn't just dictated by DBDA?
Well, I mean, I think that these guys are introducing a desire line between two things that they're about to build. So, you know, I think that this is a nod to the fact that people are going to start crossing the road in the middle here, and this is how we would do it safely.
Amy, I forget whether the Gardner is a one-way or a two-way street.
One way.
One way
This
heading
portion,
towards
one way.
heading towards the parkway, right?
So it, yeah, coming down from the left to right on your screen.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Sarah, are you okay with things, the pedestrian easement in terms of its width and play zones and all of that good stuff?
Yes, we reviewed this a few weeks ago and coordinated with the folks at the BPDA to ensure that the public realm made sense as well with the accessibility improvements that's providing on private property. But I would agree with Amy if we could have context on the other side just to have context on the overall desire line. That would be helpful for understanding things.
Steve, you got all of that stuff, Steve?
We have all of that and can layer that into here. So we, as Sarah and Amy both just mentioned, we'll have the context as to, you know, make sure this is the appropriate location and what the final build condition on both sides of the street will look like. So happy to provide that in between and have that on for a public hearing. If the commission chooses to have us on in 2 weeks, we could be ready for that.
I think we are trending in that direction, so comment by me, and this is for Steve O'Connor. I am absolutely stoked by the fact that you are attending to the needs of the sidewalk, but the road surface itself, I have forgotten where we left things as to the condition of the road where there has been multiple projects. I'm losing track of who are playing on Gardner Street. Excited about all of these building projects, but what's happening to my poor little road?
Connor, I don't know if you're able to speak to that, or if Connor is not seeing him on my screen here.
Yeah, Steve, just consult PSC staff, because to be honest, it is not fair, completely fair for me to just bring this thing up with you, but all of the construction and the utility connections and everything has taken a street that was passable into a street that is going to be much needed attention, and trying to see how the right thing can get done by parties that are inflicting the incremental degradation of Gardner Street.
Sure. Yeah. Understood. I don't know exactly which project is responsible for that, so we're happy to come back with that answer in the meantime, or at the public hearing, if that's acceptable.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you could just consult with Mr. McCormack,
sure.
Arnold, and also PIC's Chief Executive Tom Liming, just to figure out, because at the end of the day, the city is appreciative of the buildings, but someone has to pick up the pieces for the roadway. I'm not sure whether it is the city. Okay?
Understood.
Thank you, sir. Any further comments by commission members? Hearing none, comments by PSC staff and or today's audience?
No, none.
Great. We will see you in 2 weeks. That will be October 7th.
Sounds great. We look forward to it. Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Connor. Third item on today's agenda under new business, 900 Washington Street, 249 Harrison Avenue, Marginal Road, Pine Street, Boston proper. Widening and relocation, pedestrian easement, specific repairs, earth retention license on a set of joint petitions by the City of Boston Public Facilities Department and Boston Public Schools. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Commissioners, for taking the time out of your mornings to hear our project. My name is Ron McNulty. I'm the Senior Project Manager with the Public Facilities Department, who's managing the Josiah Quincy Upper School project. I'd like to request permission to share my screen.
Please go for it, Mr. McNulty.
Can everyone see that?
Yes, we do.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. As I mentioned, we appreciate your time this morning to hear the new business with regard to the new Josiah Quincy Upper School that the city's Public Facilities Department has been working very closely with Boston Public Schools on for many years now. Excuse me. Let's get on the slide. Excuse me, sorry about that. With me this morning is Carlton Jones, the Assistant Director of Operations for the city's Public Facilities Department. HMFH Architects has Pip Lewis, the Principal and Project Director for the project. With Niche Engineering, Josh Soares and Nick Botts, our civil engineers. Tyler Cromley, the landscape architect from IBI. And our OPM, Susan Gleason, our Senior Project Manager with Skanska USA Building. The project is being also partially funded by the Massachusetts School Building Authority, and we've been working with Matt Piketty and Carl Brown quite closely over the past few years on this portion of the project. The JQES project has been around for quite some time. This project is on its third site location, actually. The project has been in the city's Public Facilities Department system for approximately 10 years. And for the past 2 years, we've been working on the location at 900 Washington Street. The schedule has construction starting, and we actually just started construction on the new building to demo the existing buildings at 249 Harrison Avenue and 900 Washington Street just this past September. And just this past summer, we completed a swing space project to move the BPS students from the existing modulars 900 Washington Street into the existing JQUS school in Bay Village at 152 Arlington Street. Our overall project, our overall schedule, I should say, has the school being complete by the start of the 2024-2025 school year. So this slide is just an aerial to give a little context as to where the project is located. At the west side of the aerial is the swing space where the 6th and 7th grade students were relocated this past summer. The new building will be located directly across the street from the Josiah Quincy Elementary School, and it will be located at 900 Washington Street at the current site of the BPS modulars at 900 Washington and the existing Boston Chinese Evangelical Church at 249 Harrison Avenue, shown at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. This is a first floor plan showing Washington Street on the left-hand side, Marginal Road to the south, and beyond that, the Mass Turnpike. To the north is Pine Street and Maple Place, and on the east is Harrison Avenue. The building will be 6 stories. On the first floor will be located a media center, an open courtyard entrance, a cafeteria, LPE, and other support spaces for the school. And this is a rendering looking northeast of what the building will look like from across the Mass Turnpike, looking northeast from Washington Street. The next few slides, I'm going to ask Nick Botts and Josh Soares from Nick Engineering to speak to the specific repairs plans and the other petitions that are before the commission this morning.
Thanks, Ron. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. Do you mind if I have permission to share my screen and continue on where Rowan left off?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Excuse me. begin talking about the specific repairs along Marginal Road, as we see here, and in our submission, we see the layout and materials plan that show the specific repairs of approximately 360 feet along Marginal Road that include new cement concrete sidewalks, ADA ramps, including the reciprocal ramps and pervious pavers, street trees, street tree irrigation, seats and benches, street lights, and vertical granite curbs. As we move along to the western side of the building on Washington Street, we see the specific repair.
Would it be possible to zoom in a little bit on Thank you.
Sure. Oh. Is there an area in particular you'd like to see?
Great, perfect.
Okay.
This is a good scale.
Would you like me to continue along Washington, or are there any further questions along Marginal Road?
Oh no, please continue with the presentation.
Sure. Okay. Along Washington Street, we have the specific repairs, which include approximately 190 feet of specific repairs, which entail permanent pavers, permeable pavers, new concrete pavers on concrete slabs, vertical granite curbs, ADA ramps, street trees, street tree irrigations, seats, benches, and streetlights. Next, moving to the north side of the building, proposed building, along Pine Street. Includes 395 feet of specific repairs along Pine Street, including new cement concrete sidewalks, new vertical concrete curbs, ADA ramps, including the reciprocal ramps across the street, pervious pavers, street trees, and street tree irrigations, as well as benches and streetlights. Moving to the east side of the building, we have Harrison Avenue, which includes approximately 58 feet of specific repairs, including new concrete curb sidewalks, ADA ramps, pervious pavers, street trees, and street tree irrigations, as well as granite concrete curbs. Moving along, we have the general layout of the streetscape plan for the proposed condition of the Josiah Quincy Upper School project. And this is
I can speak to that a little bit. This is Tyler Cromley, landscape.
Oh, sorry, please.
Could you go back to the previous plan, please? Could you zoom in a little bit? So, as Nick elaborated on before, the majority of the public sidewalks are cement concrete city standard that's shown in gray around the site. The furnishing zone, which is shown in the orangish red color, will be permeable pavers and street trees and site furnishings in compliance with Boston Complete Streets guidelines. We also have some plant beds in the furnishing zone, which will have a small 4-inch raised curb, shrubs below the building overhang along Marginal Street. And then as we continue towards the west on Washington Street, we've got some granite blocks which will offer seating for the public and also act as a visual deterrent to keep vehicles from pulling up on the curb or entering the sidewalk for any reason. We have a plaza on Washington Street which helps to define and facilitate the entrance to the school building. You can see a series of green plant beds and seat walls. This will facilitate student circulation into the building from all directions and also provide a place for students to gather before and after school. Can you go to the next slide, please? So here's a perspective rendering of what this plaza might look like. You can see there is a wide, 10-foot wide concrete sidewalk that goes along Washington Street, allowing plenty of access for pedestrians to bypass the school. The plaza is defined by a different type of paving material, which will be a different color than the concrete sidewalk. That will just help to define the school space versus the public sidewalk space. You can see the series of plant beds and seat walls, which further help to define the space and provide seating for students before and after school.
Tyler, can I interrupt you for a second, sir?
Sure.
Ron, this is towards you. First of all, a spectacular project. It's amazing. It's just amazing how much good stuff you all do. But let me get to the point here. This landscaping stuff, Ron is who is going to be maintaining this wonderful landscaping which Tyler is showing.
Yes, yeah, great question, Parth, thank you. We've had extensive discussions with BPS. These particular images that Tyler has on the screen currently are within the BPS property line, so they would be maintaining them, but we've also been working with Todd and others at BPS to enter into a licensed maintenance agreement for anything that actually is outside of the BPS property line.
Thank you, Ron. I was afraid to ask that question because the schools department is responsible for educating our children, and I'm not sure whether they have resources to keep a green thing alive. So I'm glad, Ron, that you have managed this amazing project to such level of excellence, where the things that are being created, just not the school, that's going to be a living element to educate our children, but the finer details will also be sustainable. So Ron, my compliments to you, sir.
Thank you, Parth, much appreciated.
Sorry, Tyler, continue, please.
That's okay. Appreciate your compliments. I think that explains everything with the streetscape. Do you want to move on to the architecture?
Sure. In addition to the specific repair plans, we also submitted petitions for pedestrian easement plans. This is the pedestrian easement exhibit for along Marginal Road, and I can zoom in. Moving west along Washington Street, we have the pedestrian easement plan for along Washington Street. The pedestrian easement plan for Pine Street. And finally, for Harrison Avenue. This one is actually the highway discontinuance. I apologize, in our plans we mislabeled this as areas of widening and relocation when this should actually be for highway discontinuance, and we will correct that.
Actually, sorry to jump in, but the plans are actually titled correctly. This is a widening and relocation and not a discontinuance. Same with Pine Street.
Thank you very much. Moving back to Pine Street, we also have the widening and relocation on Pine Street. Moving to the temporary earth support plan. And this just shows the cross section, as we don't have any of the end caps that go past the property line. And again on Harrison Avenue. And finally, closing for questions.
Thank you, Nicholas, Tyler, Ron, all of you. Wonderful presentation. At this point, I'll open up any questions or comments by fellow commission members.
I would say that I think that these guys have been working with both BTD and Sarah and the Commissions for Persons with Disabilities, and we had sent them comments. I think that some of the stuff is reflected here, but between now and the public hearing, we just want to catch up to make sure that everything is what it is. I know that we have a couple of outstanding comments on Pine Street and just some of how the ramps and accessible paths work. So I think we can probably resolve it between now and then, but we'd like to meet with this team prior to the public hearing.
Absolutely, Annie. Thank you very much. I was planning on doing that. Thank you.
Nicholas, don't let the team down. Sorry. Okay, but you guys are just doing amazing work, so keep up the good work. Thanks, Amy. Any further comments by commission members? Hearing none, comments by PSC staff and all members of today's audience?
No, none.
Excellent. So please look after the concerns either Commissioners Sarah and Amy might have, and proceed out, make road proud of you guys, and bring it home in 2 weeks from now, which will be October 7th. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Fourth item on today's agenda, Summer Street, Fargo Street, Summer Street, Fargo Street, East Street, Echo, South Boston, grant of location on a petition by Comcast of Boston, Inc. Good morning. Who do we have from Comcast?
Tim Corthell is here. He may be muted. There he is.
Good morning. Sorry about that. Good morning, Clint. Hi, Pryor. How's things?
Good, fine. You got 2 minutes. Go for it.
Yep. We're here petitioning the commission for a grant location for the following streets: East Street, Fargo Street, and Summer Street. We hope to install 2 4-inch conduit as well as a city shadow. And I'll go over street by street. We have approximately 165 feet on East Street.
Tim, you need to show the plans. You need to share your screen.
Sorry. Yep. Everyone see that?
Not yet.
There we go. Finally. Sorry about that.
You're good.
All right, yeah, so we're starting at existing telephone pole here on East Street, continuing northeast direction. That's about 165 feet. Also continuing on Fargo Street for approximately 515 feet, adding 2 manholes, which will be in the roadway. And as we continue on Fargo Street, come to Summer Street. That's approximately 200 feet, and we'll be adding this first manhole on the left side, manhole number 3 in the roadway. Finally, we'll add the 4th manhole here on the corner of Summer Street and Pappas Way. Again, that's totally about 880 feet with installation of 4 manholes in the public way, and then we have some additional work on Pappas Way, but we have to find out exactly where the end of the public space is here on the sidewalk. And we still have to work with street lighting department to figure out exactly what's going on here on Summer Street. We will be able to do that before the public hearing.
Thank you. Comments by commission members?
I'll just clarify that we're not approving anything that shows up on Pappas Way here, that is subject to, you know, the state or whoever is controlling that at this point in time. And also, PAR can give you a lot of information about the bridge work that's happening out there, but I think that timing and when you plan to show up is probably going to be something that you want to work out with both Public Works and Transportation from a permitting perspective.
Understood.
Thanks, Amy.
Oh, good morning, Tim. And this is Denise Devlin from Boston Water and Sewer. If there are changes to the plans, we do have to get them approved again through engineering customer services. I just want to let you know. So I will make I'll mention that to them just in case you do send something down there. We know that you're trying, you may be trying to get onto the next meeting for public hearing.
Yeah, we'll definitely figure out this intersection here and revise the plans.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Any further comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none, comments by PIC staff and all members of today's audience?
No, none.
Team, you got 2 weeks. Can you get it all done?
Yes, sir.
We'll see you on October 7th.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fifth item of today's agenda, 95 Francis Street, Clement Street, Roxbury, grant of location on a petition by Verizon New England, Inc.
Morning again, this is James De Toronto representing Verizon New England. May I share my screen?
Yeah, James, give me a second. Tim, you need to stop sharing your screen unless my screen is frozen. Or James, see if you can share your screen. I don't know how to put two screens at the same time.
Let's see.
There you go, James, you're on.
Excellent. All right, so Verizon is petitioning to place two 4-inch conduits from manhole 15/806 northeast along St. Alphonsus Street, crossing the road to a city-owned 24-inch by 36-inch handhole, and then we'll be connecting with the property owner at the property line to provide service to 95 St. Alphonsus Street. Any questions?
Thank you, James. Questions by fellow commission members?
Hi, James. This is Sarah from the Disabilities Commission. During our review, we identified at least one on-street accessible parking space. So we just want to ensure that during construction, if this space is effective, then our commission would have to know to have that relocated temporarily. You have our contact information. If not, you can email us at ada@boston.gov just to get in communication and coordination for that relocation.
Okay, so we'll just, in order to, when they begin construction, we'll coordinate with you guys, and then we'll be able to take care of that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Thanks, Sarah. Any further comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none, comments by PSC staff and all members of today's audience?
No, none.
Wonderful. We'll mark you for 2 weeks. That should put you to see us on October 7th. Is that okay, James?
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. See you in 2
That was
weeks.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Last item on today's agenda, item number 6, Coolidge Road, Dorchester, street name change on a petition by the Coolidge Road abutters. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My name is Rodney Daly. Good morning, Chairman Para. I am asking that this commission look favorably on the request to rename Coolidge Road in Dorchester to Daly Way after Harry Donald Daly. I am his son, Rodney Daly, the only resident living on this private way, and has lived there for over 20 years, raising 3 children with my wife. Harry Donald Daly passed on February the 24th, 2015. He was a veteran and honorably discharged from the United States Marines. He was a committed husband to Jaretha Veronica Daly for 64 years and a strong father. He helped raise 6 children with minimal skills, worked hard every day, sick and well, to take care of and teach his children the value of hard work. He retired as a longshoreman for the Port of Miami. I pray the commission will help me honor the legacy of Harry Donald Daly by allowing this private way to be named Daly Way.
Mr. David, thank you for your testimony. We are honored to participate through this process to honor your request to name this roadway in honor of your father, your late father. Is that correct, Mr. Daly?
Yes.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to ask PIC Chief Engineer Mr. Lining whether the petition conforms to the city's street name change guidelines.
Yes, it does.
Thank you. That being said, any comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none, comments by members of PSC staff and or today's audience?
None.
Wonderful. Mr. Daly, we will see you in 2 weeks to honor the name change of the present street, Woolwich Road, in the memory of your late father.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. We'll see you in 2 weeks, which will be October 7th.
Okay, October 7th.
Thank you. That closes the items on today's agenda. I'd like to hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned. Please stay safe, everyone. Thank you for joining. Take care now.